Welcome back to a nosebleed perspective, where it has been a long time since we've been on the mics. So happy to be back. Turns out having a small human that you're in charge of takes a toll on you and pretty exhausting, but we're back now, right in time for the playoffs. Today, I'm joined by Mr. Ben Bovey, host of the Brass Tacks and Beers podcast. How we doing today?
I'm doing great, brother. I'm ready to rock this fucking playoff episode. Let's do it.
If you're just listening, he is dressed, immaculately. It's like a cross between the Hulk Hogan and Bill Cowher. And the jacket, he's got the gloves, he's ready to catch. It's beautiful. But either way, we'll get into some Steelers talk. You know what? Let's just go ahead and start the show off with some Steelers talk. So obviously, Steelers start off, was it 11-0, undefeated, right?
Yeah, yeah.
And maybe you could just give us your take as a fan, like what happened to them first off, and second off, what can we expect to see from them going into the postseason?
All right, let's go into brass tacks. Score: Steelers win by 3 touchdowns. That's what it comes down to. The Browns, they are the Browns. I've said it all year. They made the playoffs miraculous. You know how they made the playoffs? We literally played our backups. This is
Yeah.
the first time in history. Coach Tomlin is the first coach to get 2 teams to the playoffs in the same year. That's how awesome the Steelers are, that they drag the Browns along with them.
I want to
But
give the
let's not
AFC North a little more cred, so we'll
yeah,
pull up another team in here.
exactly. Listen, the Kings in the North, the throne is safe. All right. Let's not joke around. Let's not beat around the bush. They don't even, their head coach isn't even showing up to this game. He's got COVID. He's like, I'd rather have COVID than stare across the field at the black and gold during a playoff game. Steelers win by 3 scores. Now, what happened to the Steelers? I'll tell you what happened. They were doing great until you took a break on your show.
Ah,
You did this.
yeah,
You
that's
brought
true.
this
That's true.
on the great city of Pittsburgh.
Yeah,
I don't know why. I don't even know how.
I don't
But
know,
I
man.
haven't shaved my mustache or taken off this jacket since the last time I was on your show, and now I'm upset.
Yo, you got to be sweating in that thing, by the way.
It's hot. I'm in the South. It's hot.
Oh,
I don't need this.
so the nosebleeds coming to a halt for about a month is the reason solely Pittsburgh kind of have come across some stumbling for sure. I mean, they have looked the football team, the team with no name, who we'll get to, who somehow miraculously
Yeah.
also made it into the playoffs. They beat you guys. Then since then haven't looked so great.
Yeah.
But I'll take credit. I'm sorry about that. I
Yeah.
didn't mean to do that to City Pittsburgh. I know our big nosebleed guys. So either way, we'll go ahead and
It has nothing to do with injuries on defense, subpar quarterback play, and offensive line that decided to stop blocking, running backs that aren't really number one material, receivers that don't want to catch, and all that other stuff. It's your fault.
All right. Well, hey, I apologize. I'm here to make it right, and we're going to start with the Cleveland Pittsburgh matchup. So last week, obviously, they sat their 2 best players, or 2 most important players, I should say, T.J. Watt, Ben Roethlisberger. I know you're not a big Ben guy through and through. Yeah, I mean, you kind of rode that wave a little bit through the season, but that's okay. That's what we do as fans,
Exactly.
But yeah, so the first matchup, Baker Mayfield, he goes out and lays an egg. He throws for 119 yards, throws 2 picks, and has a 54.9 QB rating. Can we expect to see that Baker, or a Baker who can not turn the ball over going into the postseason? First playoff game for Baker Mayfield, obviously. So, I will say this. Pittsburgh, one of the top blitzing teams in the league. Fun fact, don't know if it's going to matter to you at all. Baker Mayfield has a 108 QBR against the blitz this year, which is pretty good for Baker. But it's also because his O-line has been rated number 1 by Pro Football Focus. Their O-line. They're going to be missing Joey Bitonio, or whatever his name is.
Yep. Pro Bowl guard.
The COVID, another guy who was scared to play. He didn't want to get embarrassed in the playoffs, apparently. So yeah, what are your initial thoughts going in? I know you kind of just went in a little bit on it, but 3 touchdown lead. Anything else you're excited to see? Just what happens throughout this game? What do you think ultimately happens? Pittsburgh's favored by 6.
Yeah. So my legitimate call is that Pittsburgh does win by 3 touchdowns.
Okay.
That really is it. That wasn't a joke. But I will say this. This is the turning point for the Cleveland Browns. Big Ben's done. Like, if you look at him, they were fortunate to be in a position to rest him coming into this game to make one last playoff push. because it really does all fall on Big Ben. That offense is just, it's awful. It's awful with him. Without him, it's just an absolute dumpster fire. So after he leaves, who you got? You got Joe Burrow, who, I mean, torn ACL. You got Lamar Jackson, who's a little iffy now. Baker Mayfield, this is your chance to learn something and next year come in and potentially take this division away.
Possibly.
I mean, this is a learning experience. You see it all the time. Look at the Tampa Bay Buccaneers for all those years. They lost in the playoffs to the big bad Philadelphia Eagles. And when they finally got over that hump, they won a Super Bowl. This is a young, talented team that people's been saying that for a while. They don't beat the Steelers this year. Big Brother's still going to win. But next year, Browns might be a force to be reckoned with. They might take this division.
Really? Even with Lamar and Baltimore up there. I guess we got to see what Lamar Jackson does this weekend against the Titans, because if he can, it's obviously team sport. It's what's great about football. It takes everyone really.
Mm-hmm.
We'll see how the Ravens play in that game. I think that's going to be the game of the weekend. That and Rams Seahawks, in my opinion. But I mean, the opportunity's there. Baker Mayfield, he does a lot of things very averagely. He does something. He drops great passes in the bucket when he needs to. At sometimes, the opportunities are there, and I don't care if his head coach is there. I don't care if his starting left guard is there. This is the time to make a name for yourself. His fifth-year options coming up in a couple years or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Will they take it? Will they pay him? This is a big game to because I think if you're a realistic Browns fan, you have to think that Case Keenum could do the same thing as Baker Mayfield at some point. I mean, it's Case Keenum, whatever. But if you have a game manager quarterback, they can get them to the same spot. So Baker Mayfield, he needs to look good doing it, and he needs to get a win this weekend, in my opinion, for Cleveland to.
I'll give this to Baker Mayfield. The dude don't have quit in him. I'll give him that. A lot of quarterbacks go to Cleveland. Pretty much every quarterback like Cleveland
30 in a row or something like that.
Yeah, been terrible. They've just given up. But Baker Mayfield keeps fighting the good fight. I give him credit for that because it ain't easy to go to Cleveland.
No, it's not. I mean, we'll see. I got Cleveland too. I don't think they win by 3 touchdowns. I think they're smart. They run the ball, maybe take some time off the clock. I know Pittsburgh's going to throw the ball. Pittsburgh, like last in the league in rushing yards. Okay, all right, okay. So I don't know who's the 32nd team. I would have to look that up, but
I don't even know.
Yeah,
I just really appreciate them not being that great this year. It sucks to be last.
Yeah, and you think of Pittsburgh, you think run the ball, play great defense, but defense is great, and it'll be exciting, I'm sure, to have TJ Watt back.
So, quick fun fact: last time the Browns made the playoffs, 2002. Who'd they play? The Pittsburgh Steelers. Who won?
The Pittsburgh Steelers.
We just have a long history of making Cleveland feel bad. Yeah. And I really look forward to the team sticking to that tradition this year.
I think they potentially throw that game. Obviously, they want to rest, Ben Roethlisberger because he's old as shit. To get Cleveland as opposed to, a Miami team, or I don't even know how that would have felt exactly. But, I feel like they like their chances more against Cleveland, being familiar with them.
I agree. I mean, everybody says nobody throws games, but why wouldn't you? If you got a chance to play Cleveland instead of one of these red hot teams, like Miami not being in the playoffs is great because I think they were a really good team, hot at the right time, even though they got smoked by Buffalo.
Yeah, they did. Smoked. Yeah. Well, I mean, Big Ben, I know you're not a fan of him. I know he's had his addictions in the past. Maybe they just need to take Big Ben, give him a laptop, throw him in a bathroom, let him do his thing. Let him figure it out. And maybe he comes out and throws for 6 touchdowns against the Cleveland Browns. But, hey, we'll see what happens. I got Pittsburgh as well. I think that's the easy pick on this one. But I got a bet with Cheech, actually. I don't know how I managed to get that with him. Straight up, $50. So.
Oh, man. What an idiot.
I did lose. I lost 50 last week for the Browns making the playoffs. Anyway, we'll stay with – you have any other thoughts on Pittsburgh going into the postseason at all? I mean, you think they win Super Bowl still?
I do think the Pittsburgh Steelers still win the Super Bowl. This is not a fan bet. This is not a fan thought. I think that you have the best defensive player in the NFL in TJ Watt, and I think he will shine in the playoffs. And on top of that, if he's got one more in him, if he's got just a string of decent games. That offense is not terrible when Big Ben's on. Think early season. If
Yeah.
he's okay, that's a good team, even without Bud Dupree, which really hurts.
Yeah, it does. And then I got a little playoff bracket here, so we'll go ahead and put this up. All right. Well, sticking with the AFC, we just kind of mentioned we got Baltimore versus Tennessee. This will be the 4-5 matchup, I believe. Yeah. Tennessee almost shit to bed last week against the Texans, and then they would have fell down to where Indianapolis, and they would have played the Bills. You don't want to play the Bills right now, by the way. We'll talk about them in a second.
Bills might be the best team in football right now.
They might. Yep. They might be potentially a Super Bowl pick for me, but I don't know because you got Kansas City. But we'll get there. Anyway, Baltimore, Tennessee, they played this year, went to overtime. Derrick Henry set home and nuts and, got a touchdown. They won that off of like a 60-yard scramble or rush or whatever. But Baltimore favored by, I think it was like 3.5 right now. So, as of now, so they're the favorites, even though they lost earlier. Baltimore's riding a hot streak, though. They've won, 4 or 5 in a row or something like that. They had to make the playoffs after where they were. Either way, Baltimore, they got that running game is ridiculous right now. Dobbins, Gus Edwards, Lamar Jackson, all averaging over 5 yards a carry, which is really impressive. Both teams probably want to run the ball in this matchup. You got Derrick Henry, the rushing king or whatever you want to call him, over 2,000 yards. Props to him. I mean, that's incredible, by the way. But yeah, Baltimore's favored by 3.5. What do you think? What's your initial thoughts on this? Who wins this game?
History repeats itself. Tennessee beats Baltimore. Team of two, running games. Tale of two running games.
Mm-hmm.
You go with the rushing king. The crown, heavy as the head that wears the crown, and he's going to use that weight to lean forward and plow through that defense. So I just see maybe like 6. We'll go with Tennessee by 6.
Tennessee by 6. Okay. I'll disagree. I think Baltimore's going to win this game. I think I know I ride that roller coaster with Lamar Jackson. I said he sucked this year. I said he was great this year. I've done it all, but I think they're playing really well right now. And I think they finally get over that hump. Both teams are missing they've been without their left tackles pretty much all year, with Taylor Lewan for the Titans and Ronnie Stanley for the Ravens, both like all pro tackles. I mean, they're both great, mean a lot. But they both still have decent offensive lines, and it's been proven. I got Baltimore by 4 here, though. I think they cover, and they win this game. Not sure how far they make it, but I just like them. I got a feeling that this is going to be for them. If there was fans in the stands, I probably have Tennessee winning this game, but there's not. It's going to be in Nashville. No fans, or I don't know what their rules are, actually limited. But I'm going to go Baltimore here, man. I just think Lamar Jackson's looking too good right now. He's not turning the ball over. He's doing great. Dude has like 46 touchdowns, 0 turnovers in the red zone, by the way. I didn't know that until a couple days.
That's a wild stat.
Yeah.
But I just look at, are the Baltimore Ravens any better than they were last year when Tennessee beat them in the playoffs? I don't think they are.
That's fair. But I also think that Tennessee is, they have all the pressure on them this year. They beat them last year. Tennessee's been a team that, they expect to run the ball, win the game. And Baltimore doesn't have that pressure right now. Last year, Baltimore had a bye, and, there's just a lot of pressure. MVP, Lamar, now he wasn't even in the talk. And they sneak into the playoffs this year. Maybe the script changes. Maybe I'm completely wrong, but one of us will be right. That's for sure. So anyway.
No matter what, somebody's right on the show. There you go.
Exactly. Hey, that's what we do here. All right. The last AFC game this weekend, by the way, Chiefs have the bye. We all know that. Don't see Patrick Mahomes and the boys falling off at any point where they were last year. I mean, I think they just kind of been not sleepwalking through the season, but they just kind of, they're coasting. They got to do what they got to do to win games, and they've done that. And they're going to get the lowest seed, whoever comes out of these games. So next game, Buffalo versus Indianapolis. Interesting game, in my opinion, just because I think Buffalo wins this game. I think they win by 10, actually. I'll go ahead and say that. But I think Indianapolis, if they play their cards right, they have the opportunity, they have the potential to win not win, but make it a close game. If Phillip Rivers, I mean, it's hard to say if he doesn't turn the ball over, but I mean, he's going to turn the ball over. If they just run, Jonathan Taylor is a guy. He can run the football. He had like 250 rushing yards last week. He broke, I think he had like 1,200 yards rushing or whatever this year. He's averaging over 5 yards per carry. But if they can just run the ball, and that defense is very opportunistic too, they need to get a turnover or two. If they can do that, I feel like they can actually be in this game because Buffalo's run defense is not, it's in the bottom third of the league. It's not a good run defense. Their pass defense is okay, and they create turnovers as well. So Phillip Rivers is going to be the X factor, obviously, and you know how that usually plays out. That's why I do have Buffalo by 10. But what are your thoughts?
Can I bring in somebody real quick? I actually brought a motivational speaker for the Buffalo Bills.
Oh, hell yeah.
Maybe you know this guy. His show's pretty big on Netflix. What's up, Johnny Lawrence?
Oh, God.
So, Johnny, what do you think about this matchup? Because it looks pretty one-sided. What? Yeah, me too. Buffalo by 30.
30.
Buffalo by 30. Strike first, strike hard, no mercy. Indianapolis has no business even showing up to this game.
Ooh.
They're awful. Jonathan Taylor running good runner. Buffalo's run defense, not great. It doesn't matter when you got Josh Allen slinging the rock down the field and you have to keep up with that. I look for this game to be a blowout. Phillip Rivers maybe retires after this game.
He should. He needs to. He does not look good. I mean, I think he doesn't look good. 14 picks, 20-something touchdowns this year. Just he's not going to be it. They've used the 2 quarterback system in certain situations with Brissett, which is interesting, but 30 points.
30. That's not even an exaggeration. This isn't even for comedic effect. 30. Buffalo wins by 30.
All right. I mean, like you said, there's no hotter team, I believe, in the NFL than the Buffalo Bills. They look damn good. Josh Allen, if he played the way he played the past 5 games all year or so, 5-6 games, he's probably right there with Aaron Rodgers in MVP talks. But, it's the playoffs. I mean, I think Phillip Rivers won against the Ravens like 2 or 3 years ago when Lamar was a rookie. It was his last win. And before that probably was year. I think he only has like 2 or 3 playoff wins, but 6.5 to spread. I think they cover Buffalo. I think they win by 10, but 30 points. All right. Jesus Christ. You have any thoughts? So you had the Steelers in the Super Bowl. You haven't played the Chiefs?
I do have them playing the Chiefs in the AFC Championship game. I think we may see a rematch of the 2011 Super Bowl where we see Steelers Packers.
Yeah, that'd be fun.
We could possibly see this happen again. That was a good match. That was a good matchup. That was a good game to watch. And Aaron Rodgers just would not wilt under the pressure in that game. But he hasn't been the same guy since that Super Bowl. He really hasn't.
Talking about Aaron Rodgers, MVP Rodgers?
What's that?
You talking about MVP Rodgers?
I think Josh Allen's the MVP of the league.
No.
I really do. What? Here's my thing, right? Buffalo's a downtrodden, in the shadow of the New England Patriots franchise for years and years and years. He turned around an entire franchise. Green Bay's just Green Bay. There's nothing sexy about that. And honestly, the MVP, most of the time, nobody cares. Nobody cares. Give it to the guy in Buffalo so you can bump that market up a little bit.
He's not going to get it. It's going to be Aaron Rodgers. Yeah.
It's going to be Aaron Rodgers.
It's going to be. He's been like too just efficient throughout the whole season. Yeah. Patrick Mahomes obviously getting a lot of love too, but I just think at the end of the day, if you look at touchdown to pick ratios and just wins, I know, talking to Gibby, he's brought up, Aaron Rodgers hasn't played that great against great teams this year. But, I think they just look at it as a whole throughout the season and Rodgers will win the MVP. Do I think Patrick Mahomes is the best quarterback in the league? Absolutely.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. I mean,
not even a question.
Mm-hmm. And that's probably why they'll go to the Super Bowl, in my opinion. Anyway, talking about the Packers, they have the bye in the NFC. So they're just going to be watching football this Saturday and Sunday, which is nice. Only 2 teams in the whole league get byes this year, 1 in each conference. But we'll go ahead and start with the Washington football team, or the Washington Red Potatoes, as we so dubbed them. A team with no name has made the playoffs. And if you would have told me during week like 6 or 7 that a team in the NFC East would win 7 games, I would have been like, probably not. Like, I think the winner of that division is probably going to win 5 games, really. And, Alex Smith, 5-1 as a starter, hasn't had like the best numbers, but he is 5-1 as a starter, and that's what matters. So they are going to be hosting the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. The football team, they great defense, great young defensive line. We all know that. Chase Young, Montez Sweat, Jonathan Allen, all those guys right there. Top 3 passing defense in the league also, in all categories. And it's all due to that defensive line. You don't get those picks without that pressure. And Chase Young is going to be somebody who we're going to be talking about for the next 50 years. He's that damn good. But it's going to be strength versus strength. We got the top 5 offense in Tampa Bay versus top 5 defense in Washington. Strength versus strength. Who do you have early in this game? Tampa Bay right now favored by 8 points.
Yeah, I have and the funny thing is, like, I'm a huge Tom Brady guy, not a fan, just a believer. I hate him. Hate the man. But I know he's the GOAT. That being said, we might get a movie moment where Alex Smith upsets this. I like the wave of momentum, the story, everything about it. Maybe it's just the heartfelt moment I want to see when Alex Smith overcomes so much in his life to win this game. I like the Washington football team by 1 point.
Ooh, damn. So I don't think anyone's picking Washington right now, to be honest.
Nobody.
But you heard Chase Young after the game calling out, he wants Tom Brady. If there is a weakness right now with that offense in Tampa Bay, because they're humming, they are. Hopefully they have Mike Evans back. I know the initial report or whatever, it looked a lot worse than it actually was, so I think he'll be back. But either way, Antonio Brown goes out and just has an absolute fucking day last week. So you have him and Chris Godwin's they're all on the same page. Gronk is coming into his own. He can run 20 yards without like dying. So, but like I said, if there is a weakness, it's Tom Brady. Can they get pressure on him? If they can get pressure on him, which this team can, it could be trouble. But I still I like Tampa Bay by 7. I think Washington covers if it stays at 8. Excuse you. But I do I like Tampa Bay to get the win here. I think Tom Brady just does enough.
Yeah, TB12, the GOAT. It's the smart pick,
But
the heart pick. The heart pick, right? That's Alex Smith, and that's what I'm going with.
I just don't know if I can do it because, you look at, they almost lost to the Eagles last week. They couldn't get a lot going. Granted, you got Terry McLaurin, who's looked awesome. The running back Gibson, who's been solid this year. If Alex Smith can do just enough, keep them in that game, that defense can get pressure on Tom Brady. This could be a very close game. You're right. It very much could be. And that's why I have Washington covering. But I think they, think the Bucs do just enough. But it'll be a fun game. I like this one a lot. It's going
to be a fun game to watch, I think. There's going to be this might be the game to watch because I think there's a lot of interest in can this 7-9 team pull an upset when you're staring down at an absolute ridiculous receiver core and the greatest quarterback of all time.
Yeah, in Tampa Bay, they're number 1 against the rush this year. Number 1. People, don't talk. Todd Bowles, obviously, he was, he really changed that defense last year, and this year they have been awesome. So Devin White is their inside linebacker. He has like 9.5 or 9 sacks this year. It's just they blitz a lot. They stuff the holes. They're great against the run. So Alex Smith is going to have a game, and they might make a movie after this, at least a 30 for 30 or whatever something if they get this win for sure.
The guy thought he might die.
Yeah, dead.
Give the man a movie. Give him a 30 for 30.
Yeah, give him something. Give him something. But all right. So you got the football team by 1. Man, I hope that comes true. I think it would be great. I did have the Bucks just being awesome. I think I had them at 13-3 or 14. I was a big believer in Tom Brady and the Bucks, but I won't sound so crazy if they make a run and make it to the Super Bowl or something this year. So, yep, people really did not like that. Anyway, next we have the Bears versus the Saints. So this is a game that the Bears, I don't know how the fuck they got in the playoffs, but they did. They are in the playoffs. Mitch Trubisky is going to be in a playoff game versus the Saints. Initially, thoughts on this? Heavy favorites for the Saints, 10 points. Right now, at least, who do you got in this one? Do you think that the Bears somehow with that defense can cover?
No, absolutely not. That wasn't even a question. The Bears, like when I looked at the bracket, right, when it first came out and like where everybody was at, I was like, oh yeah, the Bears. Like the NFC is just so bad this year that the Bears got in.
Yeah,
it's crazy to me. Like the fact that the Miami Dolphins are on the AFC side at home right now is one of the hottest teams in football, and the Chicago Bears have a chance. Not really, but mathematically they have a chance to win the Super Bowl, but in actuality they don't. Is a travesty. This team has no business being in there, and New Orleans will show that to the world. With at least with the Washington football team, right? Not to go back, but you can kind of write off some of those losses because Dwayne Haskins, as you say all the time, is fucking atrocious.
That's why he's gone. Cut. Why do you think he got fucking cut? I mean, we called it before the season, during the season. Now we're saying it again. Dwayne Haskins, don't sign him. He's a scrub.
Exactly. But you don't have that with Chicago. Like that's what they are. What they are is what they are. They're not a good team.
Nope.
So I see the Saints winning handily. 10 might be generous. This might be the game. I know I said Buffalo by 30, and I do believe it could be a blowout like that. This one could also be a 30-point blowout, but I'll go Saints by 14.
Yeah, I have the Saints by 17 right now. I mean, I think they can handle this team. They might get some pity points, maybe a trash touchdown and then make it look a little closer. But Saints, their defense has been great. I mean, I tried to find some bright spots with the Bears because they don't belong in the playoffs. They don't. But what they do have going for them, they are 8th in the league in third down percentage on defense, and they are 5th in the league in red zone defense. So, not bad, but respectively, you look at the Saints on offense, they are 8th and 5th in those same categories. So maybe that, gets neutralized. Drew Brees, I think, Michael Thomas will be back. This is going to be a game where the Saints can come and absolutely take care of business. But you have to look at New Orleans too. Some terrible things have happened in that dome in the past few years. So, you never know, I guess. When you look at, I think if you're a Saints fan and you see the playoffs, you're hosting a playoff game, wild card, divisional, whatever, conference championship, you have to be a little worried. You have to. I mean, you just have to. The Minneapolis Miracle, the pass interference with the Rams, all that. The pass interference against the Vikings last year. Shit. Yeah. Forgot the Vikings win. I mean, it's 3 years in a row where they have had some heartbreaks. If Mitch
this would fit, wouldn't it? This would fit the narrative of the Saints are just kind of cursed at home.
And you can't come back from Mitch Trubisky beating you at home.
You don't. You don't. You never do.
Yeah, so that would be tough. That Saints defense is so good though, so I don't see it. The Bears are missing. I think they're missing Roquan Smith, their leading tackler. He had 139 tackles this year. That's tough. Khalil Mack has, not been, 20 whatever $1 million.
Not been a 2 first-round draft pick trade guy.
Not this year. So we'll see. That'll be fun. But that's probably the game that I would say is the most lopsided in my opinion. But lastly, do you have any more thoughts on Bears Saints at all?
Yeah, the Bears suck. That's it.
But if they win.
I'll shave my mustache.
Oh, okay. All right. Let's go, Mitch. All right. So next we have the Rams and the Seahawks. This is going to be the third meeting this year, divisional opponent again. So week 16, Rams, Jared Goff looked like shit. That was a game we had to have the division and, get that 4 seed to play the NFC East, whatever.
Yeah.
Or 5, whatever. Whatever. Anyway, Goff, he was horrible, man. He think of 100 and something yards, had a pick, he just in the red zone. But that game was still close. They lost 20-9 or something. And then in the first game, the Rams look great. Goff looked great. You never know what you're going to get. I will say Sean McVay has not named a starting quarterback at this point on Wednesday. So, I wouldn't be terribly upset if old Wolford comes in and plays, because last week, the dude stressed me. I thought Jared Goff stressed me out at quarterback. If you're a fan of the Rams and you're watching that game last week you had to win just to the Packers were going to probably win. So you were going to be in the playoffs, but you had to win that game against Cardinals, and Kyler Murray was in and out or whatever. Wolford, dude, he has more happy feet than Baker Mayfield. He's back there. He came in, he threw an interception. They took it back. They scored, whatever then. But that dude, he was stressing me out. But then he kind of came in, he threw some dimes. He mobile. I haven't seen, mobility from a Rams quarterback, I think, in my lifetime. From Mark Bolger to Kurt Warner to whoever, I think Fitzpatrick, throw him in there we had never, ever. So when they're running that read option, I was like, okay, all right. It made it a little interesting to watch, and maybe it makes it harder for defenses to prepare for. And I think that's probably why Sean McVay is not announcing quarterback right now, which is probably smart, whatever. So either way, Goff, Walford, I think you can find positives for both. He gave that offense a lot of juice. I will say that. Cooper Kupp will be back. Andrew Whitworth, I think, is still on track to come back, but it's not been announced yet. So I know Seattle is a 3.5-point favorites. So who you got in this one? It is in Seattle, obviously. They are the champs of this division. What do you think?
So I love DK Metcalf. I think that dude is a freak of nature.
Yep.
I like Russell Wilson, but overall, I think the Seahawks are frauds. I think they're frauds. I think the LA Rams are going to win this game.
Nice.
It's going to be very close.
Very.
But I think 3 or less. 3 or less, but Rams are taking this game. I don't see the Seattle Seahawks as a serious contender. Nothing about them screams, hey, look at us, we're ready for a deep playoff run.
No.
Nothing. I think that the Rams go in there, handle their business, and I think they come away with a win.
Man, that would make me happy. That's the thing about these divisional games. You just never know. Because it doesn't matter what the records are. Either team can win. And the Rams have held DK in check. Jalen Ramsey, I should say, has held him in check. In 2 games this year, DK has 8 receptions, 87 yards, 0 touchdowns. Pretty damn good for what DK has done. Past 4 or 5 weeks, DK has not been as much of a threat as he, was the whole year pretty much. Russell Wilson been sacked 11 times in 2 games versus the Rams. I think Leonard Floyd has 5 or 6 of them. It's just, the O-line for the Seahawks has always been the weakness. Their defense has been playing better. I'll give them that. I think Jamal Adams is hurt. I forgot. Anyway, nosebleed. If he is out, that's a big hit because he has 9 sacks or something on the season. But I really have no idea. I'm not going to pick on this game because all right, I'll pick. I have Seattle by 3, but I have the Rams covering. That was my initial notes. I know, because every time I pick the Rams, they lose, so I'm going against them. I have to keep that going. I can't do it. This is going to be a close game. It's going to stress me out. My heart's going to be hurting. Either way, it's going to be stressful, and I will be at work, so that's just fantastic. I think it's a 1:40 or 4:40 Eastern time game or 3:40, I forget. So I won't be able to watch the first half at least. Maybe I will. I can figure something out, make an appointment or something. But
I'll be in New Orleans this weekend for all the games. And I don't know if I might be able to watch the Steelers game because it's later at night. if the New Orleans Saints lose to the Chicago Bears, I will be sure to get you on the ground coverage on Bourbon Street.
Oh my God.
Just exclusive. I'm going to wear this exact get up too. American flag sunglasses, Steelers jacket. I'll put the terrible towel back on the head too.
Oh boy.
Because it's Bourbon Street. Why not?
Oh man.
We'll get busy, man. We'll get some hot takes.
Yep.
Some hot takes.
You think this is the last year for Drew Brees?
It's got to be. They had to get him out of retirement last year. He didn't want to play.
Yeah. He's already has like a deal with NBC or something too.
Yeah. I think he knows he's done, and I think he regretted it instantly this year with all the, national anthem stuff that he said in the very beginning of the year. It started off tense. I think he looks old at times, kind of like Ben Roethlisberger, and I think he's smarter with his money than Ben Roethlisberger is. So I think he's just kind of done. I mean, he got his ring. He knows he's probably not going to win one if he doesn't win it this year. Yeah. I think he's done.
Yeah, I mean, they have the 2 seeds, so I mean, they could, potentially make a run if they get the right matchups, but I think he's done too. Punctured lungs or broken ribs, and he was back in a few weeks, so still the jury's out on that. Still, I will say people don't like when I say that either. But
how about we covered all the teams? Well, where do you think Green Bay ends up? Because we kind of talked about Kansas City. Is Green Bay in the NFC Championship game?
I think when you look at this bracket and you look at the NFC as a whole, they are the best team. They've been the best team besides a couple hiccups. But, they have only beat one playoff team. So, no, that's the Bucs. Bucs have only beat one playoff team. Green Bay, they got the shit beat out of them by the Bucs. Yeah. I think they definitely can. Oh, man, it's hard because, I'm going to go ahead and put them in the Super Bowl. I just have to. You just have to. I mean, Aaron Rodgers is on a mission this year. He's looked incredibly efficient. That defense has done enough. And they, at the beginning of the year, they were suspect. A lot of people did not like what was happening with the Green Bay defense. But they've turned it around. Jair Alexander is like the best overall, corner according to PFF. But, at the Smith brothers on the outside. Yeah. Kevin King on the other side of Jair. The defense is good.
Well, I'm just saying this playoff is interesting because you have legitimately 5 Hall of Fame quarterbacks in the bracket.
Yeah.
And those guys, they're Hall of Famers for a reason. I think Washington's going to beat Tampa Bay. That's the heart pick. But if Tampa Bay gets by, I could see Tom Brady, because there's something about him, man. He's like an alpha male. When he lines up against another all-timer, he just wants to prove a point. He did it the first time they played Green Bay. And I just see them potentially stomping the shit out of Green Bay if they get by Washington.
It could. I mean, they did already this year. That defense, if they eat up that run game and can get a turnover or two like they did in the first matchup, that could be a problem because it's just hard to say. I don't really – the Rams, I want to say they have a chance to win a game or two, but just realistically, when you look at them, the consistency has not been there throughout the season. The Seahawks, that consistency has not been through the season. Not going to even discuss the Bears. The Saints maybe have a chance, but their playoff history says otherwise. The Bucs are the only other team. Washington, like you said, they could be. That's why I have the Washington cover, and I think it's going to be a close game. But I don't see them. I don't see them going up to Lambeau and beating Green Bay. I just can't. So I just think Green Bay has the best chance, in the NFC. And in the AFC, I do have the Chiefs. Even though, boy, the Buffalo Bills.
Buffalo Bills.
Stephon Diggs, he's really found a home there. He's he led the league in yards, receptions, actually balls caught, receptions and yards. So going to be interesting. It's going to happen soon. This is our first super wild card weekend. So it's going to be pretty fun. I'm excited. I'm excited to see the Baltimore-Tennessee game. I just think that's going to be a tough game. It's going to be a tough game. A lot of running. It's going to be, just fun. I want Lamar to do great, rocking the Louisville gear. So hopefully he pans out. And LA, let's get this ring, boys. Got it in the MLB. You got it in the NBA last year. Let's hit the trifecta here. So
that would be something. Because, there's been a couple instances over the last 20 years where teams have, pulled multiple rings, multiple championships in sports. It's happened a couple times. Boston did it. Pittsburgh did it. Why not LA?
Yeah, I'm not a big LA guy. Like, I don't give two shits about Dodgers or the Lakers, but it would be cool. But mainly, we'll see. You have any other thoughts on the playoffs or anything in hey, by the way, shout out to the NFL. You made this season work, but where we started and we are here now with this bracket in front of us, and we know that these games are going to happen, COVID or not. I'm just happy that we made it through 17 weeks with no extra week, no added teams, no like huge adjustments besides, Pittsburgh getting screwed a little bit. But
I was about to say, hold up now, because I have some thoughts on that. But, we'll just leave it. We'll leave it be.
Exactly.
Steelers won that game, so we'll leave it be.
Yep. All right. Well, Super Bowl is in Tampa Bay on the 7th of February. So we'll see how it pans out. Hopefully your Steelers can make a run for you. And
can I say one thing?
Yeah, let's go.
It's not even about the playoffs. It's about the right thing to do. That's what this is. My man, good old number 66. He made the all-decade team. Alan Faneca.
Yeah.
They jobbed him out of the Hall of Fame last year because they didn't want to put too many Steelers in. First off, that's bullshit. All right. Put the man in the Hall of Fame.
Is he a finalist this year?
Doing? What's that? He was a finalist last year. He just made this cut. And how dare you bump Hines Ward out? Hines Ward, one of the toughest guys to ever play the game.
Yeah,
why is the Hall of Fame? Why are you voters so afraid of the Pittsburgh Steelers? We know we're the best. You know we're the best. Stop playing this stupid politically correct game where you try to get an even amount of everybody in. First off, don't even worry about the Browns. Don't worry about the Texans till J.J. Watt comes up. Put the Steelers in. All right.
Hey, Faneca lost like
our own Hall of Fame.
200 pounds.
In Ohio anyway, so fuck that place.
Yeah.
Give us our own. And that's all I got to say about that.
Faneca joined I forget the dude's name. This is the Browns offensive tackle who was so good forever.
Joe Thomas
lost like 200 pounds. Alan Faneca lost like 200 pounds. I saw him on Pat McAfee's show about a year ago.
He's a marathon runner now.
Yeah. Yeah. Offensive lineman. Torrey Holt made the cut this year too. So hopefully my boy can get in. I would love a Torrey Holt jersey. Greatest show on turf. So, all right. Well, that's about all we have on the nosebleeds. Happy we can get back. Maybe next week we can talk about what happened in the wild card round, make our predictions, see where we're wrong, where we're right. One of us is right and wrong on the Baltimore game, Titans game, and I think that was our own Tampa Bay, Washington. That was
LA Seattle.
LA Seattle. That's right. Well, I didn't make a pick there because
no, you did.
I can't, man.
You picked Seattle. Nice, real nice.
This is okay though. This is okay.
Fucking traitor.
My record picking against the Rams, when I pick against the Rams, I think I'm like 10-1 in this year or something. Like it's pretty good. So I have to keep that going. But thank you for joining the show. Host of the Brass Tacks and Beers podcast, doing great things over there. Yeah, been listening. You have any words to say about that? How you doing? Hey, good. Hey, well done, by the way. Doing good over there.
Yeah. Let me tell you something. I had the craziest chain of phone calls the other day that I had to put it on Facebook. In one day, I don't know how I got to this point. I was on the phone with an Olympian, an adult entertainer, a famous actor, like a legit famous actor, and like just bullshitting. I have his number in my phone now. I can't plug it because I'm pretty sure I'm not supposed to do stuff like that.
Yeah, probably not.
Stop doing stuff with you.
Yeah.
But
well, hey, that's really funny. Tune in to his podcast to see more info on that, see what he's talking about. But yeah, that's about it. We'll wrap it up here. Thanks for coming on the show, man. I appreciate it.
Word. Oh, it's fucking hot.